I'm going to guess most of my listeners have probably heard of you just because there's probably a lot of overlapping interest. I mean, what do you think is broken, in the most general sense on campuses that specifically, I mean, you've obviously been at Columbia for years. I mean, why are the top universities in America? I'm sure you've gotten this question every interview you've had, but what's happening? I mean, places like Columbia and Harvard or UCLA or UC Irvine, where I'm at, should be attracting the brightest minds, the most critical thinkers, people that see a complex binary issue and, pro-Israel and pro-Palestine. And I expect specifically the students and faculty at Columbia to be the ones to say, listen, it's more complicated than black and white. The world is full of gray areas. Universities should have been the bastion of reason in the last year and a half when society was crumbling, but we've sort of seen the opposite. So I'm curious if you have, is there a specific thing you think is the problem? Is it sort of just a mush? And I'm curious if you can diagnose from your perspective of why.
Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons, and we can go into the details and the specifics. Obviously, I know a lot about what's happening at Columbia. That's where I've been in the past 5 years. I know what's happening at Cornell, where I got my PhD, the New School, where I worked before Columbia. Like, we can talk about the details. But if you really had to narrow it down to two things that are wrong and absolutely dysfunctional in American academia, and when I say American, it's not just the US, it's also Canadian universities. It's no diversity and no accountability. Now, what do I mean by that? If I say no diversity, it's not that I mean not no diversity in terms of skin color or in terms of gender or in terms of nationality, although we have much more things to go and work to make this better and more diverse. What I mean is there's no diversity of thought, of true, clear, critical thinking. If you want to say uh, something about the current president, President Biden. And if you're going to be critical about him, you're likely going to find very few people that will be critical.